It's me Dàibhidh.Stiùbhard agus is culture tradition to me as Conti Rome. Welcome to this free traditional singing course. This is lesson 5 and my name is Dàibhidh.Stiùbhard. I come from County Tyrone and I'm a traditional singer and writer of traditional songs. Due to different things, we're not going to have a talk about section within this lesson. I'm not sure whether we'll have a talk about section in the 6th lesson either, but we are still going to have example of the song that we're going to sing, breakdown of the song and the archive section at the very end. So within this lesson you're going to learn the song As I Roved Out Through Belfast City, which is another example of a fast song. As I roved out through Belfast City at the hour of 12 at night, whom should I spy but a fair young damsel washing her clothes by the pale moonlight? A madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode dithero. A madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode. Well, first she washed them, then she squeezed them, then she hung them up to dry, and then she folded up her arms, saying, what a pretty young maid am I. A madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode dithero. A madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode. Oh, going to the well for to fetch some water, fetching at home for to make the tea, and she fell under, I fell over, all the game was above her knee. A madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode dithero. A madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode. Well, madam, I will tie your garter, I will tie it above your knee, and if you like I'll tie it up further. Madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode. A madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode dithero. A madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode. Well, have you ever heard of cups and saucers, rattle and sayin and old can? Have you ever heard of a fair young maiden married to an ugly grey old man? A madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode dithero. A madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode. Well, blue it is a lovely colour until it gets its second dip, and then it's like an oilman curtain, you never know when he'll get the ill fit. Madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode dithero. A madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode. Well, madam, you have gold and silver, madam, ye have tracts of land, and madam, ye have ships on the ocean, all you need is a queer young man. Madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode dithero. A madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode. A madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode dithero. A madam, I'm a darlin, and I rode. So this is a bit like the one that we learnt at the very start, which was another As I Roved Out song. It has that lilt and chorus, which is a bit more complicated than the creel one, but it's still fun to sing. So what we're going to do is we'll just break it down as we did with As I Roved Out and as we've done every other one. So first lines are, as I rode out through Belfast City at the hour of 12 at night. Sing that with me. As I rode out through Belfast City at the hour of 12 at night. And one more time. As I rode out through Belfast City at the hour of 12 at night. And our next part. Whom should I spy but a fair young damsel washing her clothes by the pale moonlight? Sing that with me. Whom should I spy but a fair young damsel washing her clothes by the pale moonlight? One more time. Whom should I spy but a fair young damsel washing her clothes by the pale moonlight? And then all together. As I roved out through Belfast City at the hour of 12 at night, whom should I spy but a fair young damsel washing her clothes by the pale moonlight? And then you can get that a wee bit faster and add in the lilts that you've been trilling out here and there. So if you remember what I was telling you before with ornamentation. Break the notes down slowly and then speed them up. As I roved out through Belfast city at the hour of 12 at night. As I roved out through Belfast city at the hour of 12 at night. Added a wee bit more on the off there. That's just natural ornamentation that we've been talking about. But play around with that where you can add your ornamentation, add your wee trills. The best thing to do is not overdo it. If you feel like you're doing too much, just strip it back. Record yourself singing as well and listen to it back to see if it sounds a bit too frilly. Yeah, so sing that with me. As I rode out through Belfast city at the hour of 12 at night, whom should I spy but a fair young damsel, washing her clothes by the pale moonlight. And then we go on to our next part, our chorus, effectively. Madam, you're a darlin, a dithero. Sing that with me. Madam, you're a darlin, a dithero. And one more time. Madam, you're a darlin, a dithero. And then the next part of that is, Madam, you're a darlin, a dithero. Sing it with me. Madam, you're a darlin, a dithero. One more time. Madam, you're a darlin, a dithero. And all together for that chorus. Madam, you're a darlin, a dithero. Madam, you're a darlin, a dithero. And a wee bit faster again. Madam, you're a darlin, a dithero. Madam, you're a darlin, a dithero. And I would naturally sing that. Madam, you're a darlin, a dithero. Madam, you're a darlin, a dithero. On to our next part now. Well, first she washed them, then she squeezed them. This is a bit of a racy song at times. You'll understand why whenever we break down the lyrics. Sometimes it's hard to notice a song's racy until you break it down or start learning it. So we have, well, first she washed them, then she squeezed them. So sing that with me. Well, first she washed them, then she squeezed them. And one more time. Well, first she washed them, then she squeezed them. Then our next part. Then she hung them up to dry. And all together. Then she hung them up to dry. Then our next part. Then she folded up her arms. Then she folded up her arms, saying, what a pretty young maid am I. So all together for those last two together. Then she folded up her arms, saying, what a pretty young maid am I. Now, arms, that break, making it two instead of arms, so going from one syllable to two with the arms, is quite typical of some traditional songs. It's an elongation to try and help out the musical note. So it's to help the singer along and fit the rhythm of the song a lot better. So we have in the first line, whom should I spy but a fair young damsel? Then she folded up her arms. She fell under, I fell over. And if you like it, I'll tie it up further. Have you ever heard of a fair young maiden? Then it's like an Iron curtain. Madam, you have ships on the ocean. So the last note is split up into two syllables. So even though it's one word, arms, you split it up into two syllables. And that's not dialectical, as in it depends on who's singing it. The vast majority of people, regardless of the way that they speak, will always split that up into two syllables just to help out the musicality of the song. And you have that in different things. You have that in hexameters and iambic pentameters and things like that. Various forms of meters and poems, they will stretch out one word into two to help fit the rhythm of the poem, of the poetry of the song. And this is to help fit out the rhythm of the poetry of the song and also the poetry and rhythm of the music as well. So we'll sing that all together then, the second verse. Well, first she washed them, then she squeezed them. Then she hung them up to dry. Then she folded up her arms, saying, "What a pretty young maid am I." So we'll do that all together again. And you'll notice that where last week we were talking about the circumflex, where you can send a note up but it has to come down, you'll notice that with this. Well, first she washed them, then she squeezed them. I tend to do it with ones where it feels right. So that wee circumflex that I do isn't part of the normal song, but it fits the style of the song. So, well, first she washed them, then she squeezed them, then she hung them up to dry, then she folded up her arms, saying, "What a pretty young maid am I." Okay, and we'll sing it all through now, the two verses together, and we'll add in the chorus. So from the top down to the second verse, and sing along with me. As I roved out through Belfast city at the hour of 12 at night, whom should I spy but a fair young damsel washing her clothes by the pale moonlight? Madam, I'm a darlin, a dithero, dithero. Madam, I'm a darlin, a dithero, day. Well, first she washed them, then she squeezed them, then she hung them up to dry, then she folded up her arms, saying, "What a pretty young maid am I." Madam, I'm a darlin, a dithero, dithero. Madam, I'm a darlin, a dithero, day. Going on to our next part now. So the first two lines of the third verse. Going to the well for to fetch some water, fetching a tome for to make the tea. Now you could say tea here because it rhymes better with knee. So I'll sing tea just to help you along with the rhymology of it. Going to the well for to fetch some water, fetching a tome for to make the tea. And sing that with me. Going to the well for to fetch some water, fetching a tome for to make the tea. There's a lot of t's in that. Going to the well for to fetch some water, fetching it home for to make the tea. That's what makes it fun to sing, and that's what I enjoy, wee alliteration-y bits and pieces like that. So, one more time, we'll sing it in that pronounced BBC English. So, going to the well for to fetch some water, fetching a tome for to make the tea. And then change that according to your accent. So, going to the well for to fetch some water, fetching a tome for to make the tea. Back home in Tyrone they'd say water, water and tea. Going to the well for to fetch some water, fetching a tome for to make the tea. She fell under, I fell over, all the game was above her knee. And our next part of that is, she fell under, I fell over, all the game was above her knee. Yo-ho, right. She fell under, I fell over, all the game was above her knee. Sing that with me. She fell under, I fell over, all the game was above her knee. One more time. She fell under, I fell over, all the game was above her knee. And all together for the third verse. So, going to the well for to fetch some water, fetching a tome for to make the tea. And she fell under, I fell over, all the game was above her knee. You might notice things like n's that sound before certain lines begin. Like, she fell under, I fell over, all the game was above her knee. That's quite common in traditional singing in Ireland. It's just like a helper sound to vocalise the rhythm of the song. So instead of beginning with she fell under, I fell over, you don't have to do this, by the way. This is just a side note of what you might hear whenever it comes to traditional singing. You might hear like the way I just did there. She fell under, I fell over, and all the game was above her knee. So going to the well for to fetch some water, fetching a tome for to make the tea. And she fell under, I fell over, and all the game was above her knee. It's quite odd why that happens, it just happens. That's just a quirk of traditional singing that you might hear now and again. So we'll practice that then with the chorus. Going to the well for to fetch some water, fetching a tune for to make the tea. She fell under, I fell over, all the game was above her knee. Madam, I'm a darlin', a dithero. Madam, I'm a darlin', a dithero. Great job. Going on to our next part then. And once we get the fourth one, we'll sing all 4 lines together. Madam, I will tie your garter, I will tie it above your knee. So you might say garter, but I would say garter. And a garter is like you'd wear, I'm sure you know what a garter is, I don't need to explain what a garter is. Anyway, so sing that with me. Madam, I will tie your garter, I will tie it above your knee. And one more time. Madam, I will tie your garter, I will tie it above your knee. And if you don't say garter normally, don't sing that along with me as garter. If you say garter, sing garter. Don't do impressions of other singers. Sing the way that you want to sing yourself. So one more time. 1, 2, 3. Madam, I will tie your garter, I will tie it above your knee. And our next part. And if you like, I'll tie it up further. Madam, I'm a darlin', a dithero. And all together. And if you like, I'll tie it up further. Madam, I'm a darlin', a dithero. And one more time. And if you like, I'll tie it up further. Madam, I'm a darlin', a dithero. And all together for that section. Madam, I will tie your garter, I will tie it above your knee. And if you like, I'll tie it up further. Madam, you're a darlin', a dithero. And the chorus. Madam, I'm a darlin', a dithero. Madam, I'm a darlin', a dithero. And our next lines then. Have you ever heard of cups and saucers, rattle inside an old tin can? Sing that with me. Have you ever heard of cups and saucers, rattle inside an old tin can? And one more time. Have you ever heard of cups and saucers, rattle inside an old tin can? Then our next line. Have you ever heard of a fair young maiden, married to an ugly grey-haired man? Have you ever heard of a fair young maiden, married to an ugly grey-haired man? One more time. Have you ever heard of a fair young maiden, married to an ugly grey-haired man? And all together for that verse. Have you ever heard of cups and saucers, rattle inside an old tin can? Have you ever heard of a fair young maiden, married to an ugly grey-haired man? Chorus. Madam, I'm a darlin', a dithero. Madam, I'm a darlin', a dithero. So we'll sing all 4 of those together, and all with choruses. So ready? 1, 2, 3. As I roved out through Belfast city, at the hour of 12 at night, whom should I spy but a fair young damsel, washing her clothes by the pale moonlight. Madam, you're a darlin', a dithero. Madam, you're a darlin', a dithero. Well, first she washed them, then she squeezed them, then she hung them up to dry, and then she folded up her arms, saying, what a pretty young maid am I. Madam, you're a darlin', a dithero. Madam, you're a darlin', a dithero. Going to the well for to fetch some water, fetching a tune for to make the tea. And she fell under, I fell over, all the game was above her knee. Madam, I'm a darlin', a dithero. Madam, I'm a darlin', a dithero. Madam, I will tie your garter, I will tie it above your knee, and if ye like I'll tie it up further. Madam, I'm a darlin, a dithero day. Madam, I'm a darlin, a dithero dithero. Madam, I'm a darlin, a dithero day. Have you ever heard of cups and saucers, rattle inside an old tin can? Have you ever heard of a fair young maiden married to an ugly grey old man? Madam, I'm a darlin, a dithero dithero. Madam, I'm a darlin, a dithero day. Great job. So we've got through the majority of that. We've just got 2 more verses to add in. So we'll add those in, sing the 2 verses together, and then sing the whole song through again. And then you'll have learnt it. Well, blue, it is a lovely colour, till it gets its second dip. Sing that with me. Well, blue, it is a lovely colour, until it gets its second dip. Sing that with me one more time. Well, blue, it is a lovely colour, until it gets its second dip. And then add in the next part. Then it's like an Islesman curtain, you'll never know when he'll get the fit. And one more time with me. Then it's like an Islesman curtain, you'll never know when he'll get the fit. And one more time. Then it's like an Islesman curtain, you'll never know when he'll get the fit. So then it's like an Islesman curtain. If you don't know what curtain means, it means going out together, seeing each other. A poem, if a young couple seeing each other, that say them to your curtain. There's a song that Tommy Makem sings called Curtain in the Kitchen. Curtain can also be kissing somebody as well. So it's one of those words with a couple of meanings. Did you get the curt means did you get a wee kiss? It's just a wee bit of dialectical information for you there, just so you know what words mean. And you'll never know when he'll get the fit. If you take it in the context of the lyrics, well, blue, it is a lovely colour till it gets its second dip. If you think of it like this jumper, blue, it is a lovely colour till it gets its second dip. So it's a bit dark, and you never know when it'll get the fit. You'll never know whenever it's going to get worn by somebody, because it's a bit darker than it should be. And in the context of the old man, you never know when he'll get the old fit. You never know whenever he'll be ready to do anything, basically, in very tactical speak. We'll sing that all as one verse then. 1, 2, 3. Well, blue, it is a lovely colour, until it gets its second dip. And then it's like an Islesman curtain, you never know when he'll get the fit. And then our very last lines are, oh, madam, you have gold and silver, madam, you have tracts of land. So sing that with me. Oh, madam, you have gold and silver, madam, you have tracts of land. And one more time. Oh, madam, you have gold and silver, madam, you have tracts of land. And then our very last lines are, madam, you have ships on the ocean, all you need is a queer young man. I think the original is all you need is a fine young man, but I changed it to queer because a poem, if something's queer, it can mean good. So that's a queer job that you did there means that's a great job, or that's a fine job you did there. That's a queer looking thing can also be a wee bit different. So it's one of those words like curtain can mean a couple of different things, but for the majority it depends on the words that's used around it. So all you need is a queer young man means all you need is a great young man. So we're going to sing it with that version. Madam, you have ships on the ocean, all you need is a queer young man. 1, 2, 3. Madam, you have ships on the ocean, all you need is a queer young man. One more time. Madam, you have ships on the ocean, all you need is a queer young man. We'll sing that verse all together then. Oh, madam, you have gold and silver, madam, you have tracts of land, madam, you have ships on the ocean, All you need is a queer young man. And then our chorus, Madam, you're a darling, a dithero, dithero. Madam, you're a darling, a dithero day. Right, so we've got the whole song now. We're going to sing it from top to bottom with the choruses and everything in between. And feel free to add in your own wee bits of ornamentation whenever I'm singing along with you. For the most part, try and focus mainly on the rhythm of the song and the way that I'm singing it, where I'm breathing and things like that, because that'll help you whenever you go on to sing it. I sometimes confuse, which I do whenever I'm singing it anyway, I confuse Madam, you're a darling with Madam, I'm a darling. I don't think that really matters in terms of the song. You can swap it out either or, but if you want to say Madam, you're a darling, sing Madam, you're a darling. If you want to sing Madam, I'm a darling, sing Madam, I'm a darling. Because I'm pretty sure in the whole course of me singing this song, I've sang it multiple ways in terms of the song, and I've taught you it multiple ways. So just pick the one that you want and use that. We'll sing it from the start. For the purposes of this sing song, we'll use Madam, I'm a darling the whole way through. One, two, three. As I rode out through Belfast city at the hour of 12 at night, whom should I spy but a fair young damsel washing her clothes by the pale moonlight? Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode to the row. Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode day. Well, first she washed them, then she squeezed them, then she hung them up to dry. And then she folded up her arms, saying, what a pretty young maid am I. Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode to the row. Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode a. Oh, going to the well for to fetch some water, fetching a tome for to make the tea. And she fell under, I fell over, all the game was above her knee. Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode to the row. Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode a. Madam, I will tie your garter, I will tie it above your knee. And if you like, I'll tie it up further. Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode a. Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode to the row. Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode a. Have you ever heard of cups and saucers, rattling inside an old tin can? Have you ever heard of a fair young maiden married to an ugly grey-haired man? Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode to the row. Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode a. Well, blue it is a lovely colour till it gets its second dip. And then it's like an Iron curtain, you'll never know when he'll get they'll fit. Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode to the row. Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode a. Well, madam, you have gold and silver, madam, you have tracts of land, and madam, you have ships on the ocean, all you need is a queer young man. Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode to the row. Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode a. Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode to the row. Madam, I'm a darling, and I rode a. I feel like Madam, I'm a darling fits in that far better than Madam, you're a darling. But you can change it up depending on what the verse is talking about. So at the start you sing the verses, as I rode out through Belfast city at the hour of 12 at night, whom should I spy but a fair young damsel washing her clothes by the pale moonlight. So you're talking about her in that verse, so you could say, Madam, you're a darling, a dithero, dithero. Madam, you're a darling, a dithero day. Whenever it talks about the narrator of the song, you can use I'm a darling, or you can just stick to one or the other, whichever's easier for you. But adding those two together can add a bit of dynamic to the song. So that brings an end to this song breakdown. Hopefully you enjoyed that. And now we'll go on to the song archive section. So to start off this archive section, I've got a couple of poetry books which are great and should be very familiar to anyone in the north. and anybody that grew up in Mid-Ulster. And these are 3 books of the poems of Seamus Heaney. So the first one I got was Death of a Naturalist, which I believe was first publication by Seamus Heaney. And these are all Faber and Faber editions, which contains that famous poem Diggin, which a lot of school people will remember from their English GCSEs and such, about descriptions about what Seamus Heaney is trying to talk about there. But they're great collections. So we have The Death of a Naturalist, New Selected Poems 1988 to 2013, and also Seamus Heaney North. And they're very gritty and earthy and like the language of the songs to a certain extent, and hark back to an earlier language of different songs. So that's why I love Seamus Heaney's work. He's very much the voice of the people whenever he writes, and he writes in our accent to a certain degree as well. He uses words that we would use. So I'm going to read a quick poem from Death of the Naturalist, just so you can get a feeling for the language. And I'm just going to read it as if I was back home and use that pronunciation. So it's called Follower. My father worked with a horse plough, his shoulders globed like a full sail strung. Between the shafts and the furrow, the horses strained at his clicking tongue. An expert, he would set the wing and fit the bright steel-pointed sock. The sod rolled over without breaking at the head rig with a single pluck. Of reins the sweating team turned round and back into the land, his eye narrowed and angled at the ground, mapping the furrow exactly. I stumbled in his hobnailed wake, fell sometimes on the polished sod, sometimes he rode me on his back, dipping and rising to his plod. I wanted to grow up and plough, to close one eye, stiffen my arm. All I ever did was follow, in his broad shadow round the farm. I was a nuisance, tripping, falling, yapping always, but today it is my father who keeps stumbling behind me and will not go away. So that poem probably explains why Seamus Heaney is very powerful, and these 3 books are great. And I also have, like I said, Beowulf, and I have his translation of one of the books of Virgil's Aeneid as well, which are great, but you could do a lot worse than get a couple of Seamus Heaney books. Following on from poetry, I also have this quick show of Scott's poetical works, and within it, it has The Lady of the Lake and some really great woodcut illustrations, or maybe etchings I should say is a better word. Harp of the north that mouldering long hast hung on the witch elm that shades St. Fillan's spring, and down the fitful breeze thy numbers flung till envious ivy did around thee cling, muffling with verdant ringlet every string. O minstrel harp, still must thine accents sleep mid rustling leaves and fountains murmuring, still must thy sweeter sounds their silence keep, nor bid a warrior smile, nor teach a maid to weep. Not thus in the ancient days of Caledon was thy voice mute amid the festal crowd, when lay of hopeless love or glory won aroused the fearful or subdued the proud. At each according pause was heard aloud thine ardent symphony sublime and high, fair dames and crested chiefs' attention bowed, for still the burthen of thy minstrelsy was knighthood's dauntless deed and beauty's matchless eye. But it's got some amazing stuff in here. I'm sure if you looked you could find a Walter Scott collection online. All the poems are probably online, but it's nice to have a physical book, and this is a really, really nice physical book as well. But very romantic in its lyricism, a bit like The Lady of Shalott, which is another great poem. And I've linked before, I believe, in the references to a really, really great rendition that is sung. And if not, I'll link it again under this lesson for these references, a sung version of The Lady of Shalott by an American artist, I believe, and she plays a harp as she sings it, and it's very bardic but very nostalgic of the Romance era. But great book. Going on to some traditional singing now, we have this which I got from Roisin White, and it is "'Tis Pretty to Be in Ballinderry," and it is a collection of the traditional singer Robert Cinnamon. It's through Roisin White's hard work that this came together, and it's a really fantastic collection. So it has songs sung by Robert Cinnamon, which is CD1, and then it has a second CD which is modern day traditional singers singing some of the songs that he was known for. And in the wee booklet it has explanations of the songs as well as an introduction by Roisin herself, and she's a great woman and very great advocate of traditional singing, so whenever she brought this out it was very, very well done, and they're great recordings as well, fantastic recordings. There's a version of William of Winsbury which I sing. I originally heard Pentangle singing it and I learnt it from that and changed various parts of it, but then I got this and heard a variation of William of Winsbury which is just as good, and he's just got some great stuff and not as well known as he probably should be, but thanks to this he will be better known. I also have another collection here of songs, and it is compiled by Jerry O'Connor, and it is I Have Travelled This Country Songs of Cathal McConnell, and I was given this by Jim McGinn, who made the Light of Other Days photography book, but it is just an absolute mass of material. He's a queer man for knowing songs. This is so many songs. 123 songs is a lot of songs to have in your head. I can just about remember one or two. A lot of singers will probably be in the same boat as me now. They can remember bits and pieces of various songs. I'm a great man for knowing the starts of songs, but then can never remember the rest of them. I'd say a lot of people are like that. This is a man that knows 123 songs in and out, and probably knows more than that besides. It's absolutely fantastic. And the lyrics to the songs are all inside as well. It has a CD as well to accompany it, but it's great. Has all the explanations at the bottom of where he got the songs and an introduction at the start, and it's just absolutely great. Jerry O'Connor did a great job on it altogether. Fantastic book, so look for that. And to finish it off is another vinyl, and it is this Skylark, all of it, and it's got Len Graham singing on it, so you know it's going to be great. Just great songs and great tunes on it as well. Absolutely fantastic. Probably one of the best songs on it is Braes of Balquidder, which I heard the recording somewhere of it, but I have a couple of guys down in Geordie Hanna singing Braes of Balquidder in perfect harmony together. Three fellas from down south I believe, and they're quite famous but I can't remember their names, but it was absolutely fantastic singing Braes of Balquidder. And then I picked this up not too long afterwards and it had Braes of Balquidder on it, and it's a great song. And it has Siúl Arún and everything on it, and it also has the lyrics, which is very, very helpful for if you want to learn something. So the songs on it are Siúl Arún, Pretty Susan, The Tryst, All of It, In Contempt, For a New Baby, and Braes of Balquidder. It's just fantastic stuff. Very much recommend hunting down vinyl if you're into vinyl, or if not, I would just get it on iTunes if you can, because it's a great record. So that brings an end to this lesson, a wee bit shorter without the talk about section. We'll be back next week for our last lesson where we'll be learning a slow song once again. But thank you very much for joining me in this lesson. Hopefully you enjoyed that song. It's a great song to learn, it's a great song to sing, it's very fun and light-hearted, and hopefully you have a lot of fun with it as well whenever you're singing it. Gur maigah agus slán. See you next week.